Hola, Chisme.
Hola, MonkieMar.
Hello, everyone. Hey, GB, Kimberly, Junie, Justice. Hey, Coconuts. Ah, we got a coconut in the house. A coconut.
Hello, Coconut, everybody.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Kimberly, Jeannie, GB,
Tell me if
just
I'm yelling because my ears are
Coconut,
still a little clogged.
Jennifer Peace. Oh, you sound good.
Okay. Hello, Jennifer. How you doing, Chisme?
I'm doing good. I'm waiting for the updates.
Well, I'm starting to think that maybe this Hyundai is something that they're definitely looking for.
I've heard both that it's just a hoax and that and some people say it's serious. So let's
Hey,
see what
Kimmer.
you got.
Well, I'll start with the the chief that said today that he believes that the person in that car knows something. Came out of his mouth. I'm still in shock that it has gone 5 weeks. Well, is it 5 weeks or is it still 4 weeks? No, I think it's 5 weeks on Sunday.
It's going on 5 weeks. But one of the experts says that a month is really not long at all. So, and if it goes to 6 months, it's still pretty good, but longer than that, then it becomes a cold case.
Well, it just makes you think that the person that did this obviously was not a complete amateur.
Hmm.
Okay, let's go see. I want to watch um, Johnny's short when he talks about the bloody footprints. If there is, there has to be something. Could you imagine though having to go through 22,000 cars? Hey, Black. Hey, Sandy.
What do you mean? The amount of cars in that area? White cars?
Yeah, he says it in the update yesterday and today that there's 22,000 Hyundai Elantras.
Ooh, I missed that part.
Huh. Okay. This is just a short. I like him. Oh,
How likely is it that the killer left bloody footprints
where
at the
you at,
scene?
Johnny?
And could that be a valuable clue in identifying? How likely is it that the killer left bloody footprints at the scene? And could that be a valuable clue in identifying shoe size and type? Absolutely. If the perpetrators left bloody footprints, then absolutely investigators are going to photograph that, put a scale, identifies a size, and if there's enough detail in there, there's an FBI database that I think has every single shoe in the world that's ever been made. They can identify the type of shoe that is. Now, why is that important? It's only important is if you catch a perpetrator that has those type of shoes, because then you can look at the perpetrator's shoes and the shoe prints that were left at the scene, and there are some identifying characteristics. There's the actual standard of the actual shoe, and then there's more personalized evidence that you have with those kind of shoes. How that person walks. Do they walk on the outside of their shoes?
Yeah.
Do they drag their feet? Do they walk on their toes?
Do they walk on their toes? There has
Some
there has
people
to
do.
be footprints.
Yeah. I saw a picture. I have a picture of them picking up a real small object and putting it in you know, but they put it in an envelope, a brown envelope.
Hmm. You know what else I found interesting? That They literally took four bodies out of that house. They must have done it in the middle of the night.
Yeah, because
Hey, money moves.
I haven't seen anything.
Well, I'm sure if it was during the day, somebody there would have somehow. It's absolutely insanity.
Unless they did it right away, but they shouldn't have if they did.
Well, no, they couldn't do it right away. They had to come in and take pictures and,
I know.
4,000 pictures.
Yeah, but if they did, if they did it too soon, they shouldn't have. Because I didn't see any media regarding the removal of the bodies.
Hey, Lynn. Okay, Lynn, I'll try. Yeah, I mean, not that I would want to have seen that, but I was thinking about, you know, not one time do you ever hear about them taking those poor babies out of the house.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh. Someone did say on one of those 4chan um, entries
mm-hmm.
that um, it's gory, trigger warning, that they were in pieces.
Stop,
So
stop, stop.
that would
Oh,
explain it.
money, money moves tells everyone that we matter. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
You
You
matter too.
matter. You are
Hey,
loved.
Sandy.
And
I
I'm
don't want to hear.
praying.
I don't. Yeah, I don't want to see pictures.
So that would explain the boxes in the beginning.
Hey, Patty. Hey, Patty and Pink. Okay, so I started watching this earlier, and it was the same lady that interviewed Enon. Now, I think Enon actually texted me back if it's his phone number. I texted the number yesterday. I told you guys, and I said, "Hello, is this Enon?" And he came back and he said, "Who this? Not who is this? WHOIS." And then I said, "Hi, is this Enon?" And I'm waiting for him to answer yes or no.
Send him a link.
I was thinking about sending him a link. Should I?
Yes.
Yeah, let me send
You
him
have
a
the
link.
good questions.
Let me send him a link to the live real quick. I hope it's him and it's not some crazy like oh gosh. All right. All right. Sending it to him now.
And another person at another apartment, I think it's across the football field. They sent their videos in the beginning to law enforcement.
Yeah. We're gonna get into the car. We are going to get into the car. Elisa Casada, hello. I hope you're good. If I'm
Hello.
yelling, I'm sorry, but I've had a horrible chest cold. Actually, the chest cold's almost. That's still there. Okay, don't do that, girl. Don't do that. Ooh,
Bring it up.
hang on, guys.
Take a puff.
Oh shit! As soon as I said it, I jinxed myself. Okay, this is a psychologist profiles evil in the Moscow, Idaho case. Has anyone seen this yet? I have not.
No, I started to, but no.
I started to, and it was so good that I thought, you know what? I'm gonna wait and watch it for the live. So let's go check out what this psychologist is going to profile some evil and see what he thinks of somebody who goes into a house and kills four people Why did the power just flicker? All right.
Okay, I'll listen.
Well, we got so much snow. I know Black Eagle can relate. Hey, Grammy. A lot of snow. Okay. Let's hear what they have to say. I have never even seen this man before. A true crime podcast.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Happy hidden hour. Can everyone hear me okay? It looks like it. Dr. John and I are glad
Hey,
to
Mark.
be here. In fact, so glad I should probably turn off my phone here. There we go. I'm going to have some moderators help me through my phone, so I'll put it right there. Thank you, everyone, for being here. For those new to our channel, we just keep receiving new subscribers every week. Thank you so much for subscribing and hitting that like button. We are a journalist and a forensic psychologist. I was a journalist, TV reporter for 10 years. John is a forensic and clinical psychologist and has been for decades. So let's, and then on top
that makes me sound really old.
well, on top of it, the most important part of this is that we are husband and wife. So when you hear me call him babe, it's not that I'm being inappropriate, or maybe I am. I don't know. Well, I'll try hard not to. Today, we're going to tackle a pretty bold question. And by we're, I mean Dr. John today. We're essentially going to ask, is there a profile of evil? I don't know myself, many forensic psychologists that would even dare go here, but we're going to tackle that. So stay with us. We're continuing to discuss the Moscow homicides in Moscow, Idaho, a college town, University of Idaho, Northwest Idaho, actually, is where it is. 4 bright young students taken far too soon. We still don't know who did it. We're still all wondering, and we're going to continue discussing the possibilities of that crime. So thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you. With that being said, we said last time to leave your questions in comments, that we would ask your questions for the following week. And that has worked really well for us. So thank you. Once again, we read everything. We can't always respond. It's just the two of us, but we read them all and we picked a few of your questions to read tonight. So Dr. John, Dr. Babe, do you want to start with those questions now before we get to the big question? Is there a profile for evil?
Sure. Let's start with some of the questions. Note that the questions are mainly about psychopaths or psychopathy. And in terms of psychological research, just to tie this in, there's been more and more research these days which looks at that question of
psychopaths,
whether psychopathy is something close to approaching evil in social science. So it's a huge topic. We'll scratch the surface, but we'll try to develop some answers to that. And just as a quick intro, there's a fairly recent book.
There we go, right there.
Psychopathy and Human Evil, which obviously tries to answer some of the questions we're going to be talking about tonight. It's an edited edition by Ikovitz and Howell. And so I'm not completely out in left field by addressing this issue. It is a current debate, and there is psychological research on this question of evil. So we'll do our best.
And you gave a little bit of a teaser there too. For those that are on our Patreon, we already put out one teaser. Call this, what John just did, lifting up that book, discussing that, a follow-up. We have an announcement coming soon that we'll be sharing. So call that the second clue to what it is. And no, it will not be baseball cards or NFTs. The first question we have comes from Mickey Duff. Mickey Duff, thank you for your great question on last Hidden Hour. She says, or he, I'm not quite sure, first-time watcher. My question is, would someone who committed this crime have absolutely no history of violence in their past?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think it's possible. I think that there are some psychopaths who are able to channel some of their psychopathic qualities in a positive direction. So there's actually a group of psychopaths called clinical psychopaths, and a lot of these types of people end up in the corporate world. So, these are the CEOs that embezzle or take all the stock or screw their shareholders or whatever and have no guilt about it whatsoever. Usually they're chasing money rather than violence, but they don't typically have histories of violence. And there's actually a more recent theory of psychopathy, which breaks psychopathy down into 3 areas. The first one is meanness, the second one is disinhibition, and the third one is fearlessness. So if you look at those three areas, fearlessness could be a very productive quality. So many psychopaths or it's sometimes called boldness, by the way. So fearlessness, boldness can serve someone well in the corporate world. And so you see psychopaths without a history of violence that are what we call productive psychopaths, and they're quite successful, and they exist. So are there psychopaths out there? Could this psychopath potentially, if it is a psychopath, could this person potentially have not had a history of violence? Yes, it's certainly possible. I would expect that there would definitely be some clues. It's also possible that psychopaths fly under the radar when they're younger, or they're not caught, that they engage in some violence outside of normal channels. Like maybe they don't have fights at school, they have fights after school, and they're not caught. So it's certainly possible to have a history of violence that goes undetected. My guess is that for somebody doing something like this, there's probably some clues somewhere, and there might be some violence. But answering the question more broadly, yes, there are psychopaths that don't necessarily have histories of violence. Let's hope that they're not your bosses.
Hear, hear. Here's for hoping. Who's our boss? Are you my boss? Am I your boss? How does it work when we're coworkers?
Nobody's the boss of us yet.
Yeah, maybe one day. Maybe we need to hire a boss.
Yeah, right. Yeah, hopefully not a psychopath.
Yeah, we'll put out an ad. We need a boss, no psychopaths.
Right, because I think an ad that reads "psychopath-free boss" is going to work really well. That's not going to attract psychopaths.
Second question.
I mean, are you there, Trisme? At the end of the day, this person cannot be playing with a full deck. Psychopath, sociopath, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't.
She asked if he's done it before, and I was like, well, you got to start somewhere.
I keep getting the Danny Rollin feeling off of this guy. Yeah, we have to look into that tonight, guys. That other stabbing in where did you say, Mark? You said Washington State, I thought, and Paladin said Calgary. Calgary's not far away.
But yeah, there was another couple that the was it the wife that survived? Yeah, the wife survived.
Yeah, but that had absolutely, they claimed that it had nothing to do with this case. They cleared that. These two are funny together. They're cute. Okay, here we go.
Question actually comes from Patreon. Thank you, Sylvia, for being a Patreon member and asking this great question on Patreon. Two questions, actually. I'll ask them both, John, and you can start with the first or the second, whatever you want.
Okay.
Sylvia asks, when a psychopath is named a suspect of a crime and he knows he or she is a suspect, how does he react? That's the first question. The second question is, what behavior would you expect from a psychopath who knows that law enforcement or even the wider community is seriously looking into the crime or them?
I love these types of podcasts.
Yeah, of course, there's no one way to answer these questions. I should point that out. But how would I expect a psychopath to react? Maybe with some pride or maybe indifference. One thing about psychopaths is they do really poorly in terms of processing emotion. In fact, there's a large belief that psychopaths have emotional processing deficits, and it's connected potentially to the amygdala in the brain. So many of them have deficits in the amygdala. So how would they react? Probably not very emotionally, probably with indifference or maybe a little bit of pride.
Patty and Pete, I will say, in my opinion, the chef was different. Also, he was at the food truck. Did you know that? Are you talking about Inan Harsh, who I'm waiting for him to get back or join us in chat? I'm going to zip my lip in case he decides to pop over here because I just text him the link.
Yeah, I haven't heard that. But there's so many people there.
Referring to. Okay, that was it. The Washington one. Washington. Washington. Yeah, say that 3 times. Ooh.
Oh, on the 13th of the month.
And there was one in Calgary from what Paladin said. All right, here we go. But I find these interesting to actually hear different ideas and different perspectives on what kind of person it takes to do something like this. I'm still going with the outsider that knew them, like the whole thing about. I don't. I'm not sitting here saying Ian Harsh did it, but Ian Harsh fits the criteria in my book of everything that I've read, watched, and it
Yeah,
wouldn't shock me. But I
yeah.
don't. It wouldn't shock me if it was somebody like him. You know, somebody came and left me an email saying, "Hey, what if the neighbor and Enon are friends?" And it was both of them. I'm like, "Oh, we can't even dig down that rabbit hole."
Pride, I think. So psychopaths are very narcissistic. So I wouldn't I wouldn't be surprised to see a psychopath react with some degree of pride.
Wow. Wow. Would they ever taunt or anything like that, by the way? That's one of your wife's questions. Sorry, I threw that at you.
Yeah. I think some would. Yes, I think some would. I think they'd probably be subtle about it. But we'll talk about this later. But if I think of somebody like Israel Keys, and Keys is an interesting person because in many ways he's like the personification of a psychopath. But then he was in significant relationships where his partner spoke highly of him or well of him and said he wasn't violent. And he has a daughter. Has a daughter that he seemed to love very deeply. So it's an enigma. I think with a lot of and by the way, that's sort of the Dexter problem for those Dexter fans out there. The big question, one of the big questions in the Dexter series in the last couple of seasons was, is Dexter capable of love? Which is the same thing as asking, is a psychopath capable of love? And most
No.
experts would say no.
We covered Kimberly. We talked about Enon last night and went over his record and where he's from and the interviews, and he's definitely contradicted himself a few times. He's definitely a different type of guy.
No, they're not. However, somebody like Key, I don't know. It's an open question. It's an interesting question.
Very interesting question, which is why I'm so excited for today's topic. Can we profile evil? I think that goes along with it. The next question, the next two questions come from Gail S. Thank you for your great questions. Question number one, are psychopaths born with these emotional issues? We'll stop there. I'll read her second question after that, if that works out.
Yep. So the answer is probably. There does seem to be a genetic component to psychopathy. There does seem to be some early indications of psychopathy in children. There does seem to be some level of heritability, meaning that it's passed on genetically. And it's of course, like everything else in psychology, it's not, there's no there's no causation here. The percentage, or we say the variance of heritability that's related to psychopathy is usually
They froze. Uh-oh, Mar left us. It's snowing where she's at. So storming at, who said it was storming? Kimberly. Yeah, what gets me on Enan is that he said he'd always want to crash their parties, but he never did. That's Mar. One moment. Okay, Mara's going to be back in about 10 minutes because her internet's down and she has to go out in the blizzard. Yes. Oh, heavy snow where Kimberly Skinner is. No, today, right now, we're at 44. But yeah, I wonder what time. I wonder which guy is the one that they saw at the food truck. I know it's Inan. Patty and Pink said Inan, but which one of the crowd was he? I'd love to see that. I know there was a guy right there in the middle with long hair, curly hair. Was that him? The one the girl picked up and she tried to pick him up and he picked her up or something. Oh, monkeys in MonkieMar is in Maine. So far, we're looking at a podcast. That lady Lauren Matias and her husband, he's a psychiatrist, and they're talking about psychopaths. They're they're educated and informative, so we might learn something here. I'm s- we started decorating tonight for Christmas. How about y'all? A Spanish type hoodie and had it over his head. Yeah, I remember seeing a type of hoodie like that. That's crazy. Was he staring at them? Yes, Brenda. I don't know how she can keep up with everything and all of her pets. But when I was looking at the farms in that area, because a lot of migrants, a lot of immigrants go work over there, and they have the potato fields, they have strawberry fields, they have green beans, grapes, and they're having disputes. I don't know if it's with the cartel or who, but some people are taking over. You know how there's a vast amount of land. The cartels or the drug dealers, they're taking over the land to grow marijuana. So they have a lot of issues with that. So I just thought I'd bring that up real quick. I don't think it has anything to do with it, but there are land disputes over there regarding someone using their land to crop marijuana. And I don't know if it's legal there. I wonder if they skin the coyotes. Oh, he didn't talk to anyone. Yeah, don't mess with the cartels. You don't even really mention their names. The name. No. I have a video about some ladies that search in Mexico, and they go out there with one stick and maybe a shovel or two, and they find the bodies of their family members or family members of uh, victims of the cartel. And it's real graphic, very, very graphic. And I guess it's getting worse. I haven't gone to Mexico in years. Oh, the one of the ladies, they're called las rastreadoras. Yeah, they dig up the bodies, and they dig deep, sometimes 10 feet. I mean, you can see them in the way down in the hole. These ladies looking for bodies, and they find them. Yes, Kimberly, they say one they're looking for one person, I think, but no one really knows. They don't, we don't know. But when I saw that guy drip drop, uh, he said, when he mentioned how strong some people were, that they don't look strong or athletic, but they really are. JD, he's he's really athletic, especially in tennis. Yeah. He thinks it all out, and he knows how to word it. I might think of something really good, but the way I explain it, it doesn't sound so good. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm trying to explain it this way. And I am not able to prove my point as well as he does. I've said that from the get-go, Justice Jane. And I try to go by my first instinct, but then a lot of people come up with good points that make you think, things that make you go, But when we were talking about that, we never saw them remove the bodies, like the morgue, the funeral home never went in to remove, we never saw any of that. But I read somewhere on that 4chan thread, someone said that they were in pieces. So that would explain that. It's real gory. Yeah. So that would explain the boxes that were taken out early on, if that's the case, or if they did it without anyone noticing, remove the bodies. Yeah, he's like, that look. And Jack was looking at him, trying to get his approval. To me, that's what he's like. Look, see, I care. Look at me. I'm comforting her. Can you see? And the dad, Steve, he's like, whatever. Get your hands off my wife. Yeah, he has face paint. Or maybe that's his real face. Maybe those are real tattoos. Yeah, I've seen Sweetie Pie. Um, she hasn't mentioned anything about her. And she has Sweetie Pie has a new one, I noticed. Might as well grab a smoke, MonkieMar. Yeah. And I watch Reverend Serafina. Uh, Reverend Serafina, I have it's actually a text message asking me if I would like to gift Lena Sardar's family with a reading. But I was like, I actually had paid someone else and they betrayed me. So And then they had me running around all over San Antonio wasting all my time, on several different cases when I could have been, when I was so close, and then they distracted me. So I got a little bit upset, and I'm really not really listening to the psychics as much unless I know they have a good track record, which I know no one's perfect. Look, they don't believe in psychics, but they do have fortune tellers. It's, they call them fortune tellers. And yeah, it was crazy. One of these days I'm going to put all those chats and everything up. Yeah. And also San Antonio Police Department, Bexar County Sheriff's Office, they did go by a psychic's reading, and it was the one that I had paid for. But other people started, whatever, it was weird. It was just all over the place, and people on our chat were betraying me and I would tell them, hey, I'm going to go look here, and then they would send the cops to check me out. And I'd always notice the cops around me, but they wouldn't tell me anything. And then I found out that Amanda, she was sending the cops to check me out. Amanda Starseed. Hi,
Well,
Mara,
that
you
was
back?
horrible.
What
Yeah,
happened? Did you freeze your ass?
No, I actually left the extension to the RV with the cable to the computer, so I was not burning and running it all off the thing to even out the power, and I just had to dig it out of I don't know, 4 feet of snow, and then drag it inside.
Mm,
Yeah, I forgot that I left it out there, so it was covered in 4 feet of snow. So back to the program.
yes. Let's get
I asked
implemented.
Fiona. Yeah, I asked Fiona to get out there and do it in the cat, and they were like, "I don't think so, lady." Whew, okay, I'm out of breath. Okay, there goes the plow truck. Okay. Do you guys
This
have a nice
it?
conversation?
I think so.
I agree, Justice. I'm not really too much into the psychics, but I do listen to them, a few of them,
Yeah, I was
and
telling them
Chisme.
about my experience with the ones that had me running around all over San Antonio.
Can you believe that they had her? Chisme was out looking every day for Christine Powell, and they had already known that she was found, and they never even texted her or got a hold of her to
Yeah.
let her know. But that's part of Pamela Allen, Lena Sadar, and the complete scam artist, check fraud writers that run nonprofit organizations for kids. Yeah, you can't make it up. Hello, Pamela ETA. How you doing? How's your husband's erectile dysfunction going? Okay.
And how's your new company, Advocates for the Missing in Texas or San Antonio?
Mm-hmm.
New nonprofit.
We haven't forgotten about you, Pam. Okay. Here we go.
Uh-oh.
And it's, of course, like everything else, there's causation here.
Aw, thank
The
you,
percentage, or we say the
Justice.
variance
She
of
said you did good.
heritability that's related to
Oh,
psychopathy
thanks.
is usually going to be no more than 50%. So that means you can have some of those traits. You can inherit some of those traits for psychopathy, and if you're in the right environment, you may not become a psychopath. So, like many things in social science or in psychology, there's interactions between the environment and between genetics.
I want to thank Kim Matheson. She says, thank you for sharing your expertise and helping us all understand and comprehend. Thank you so much. And I also want to thank Holly W. for your kind contribution and super sticker. It means so much to us.
You know, guys, I'm sitting here laughing, but I don't want to cough. The best part was when Pam sent me a cease and desist because I told you guys that her husband has erectile dysfunction, but I shared his YouTube page. I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
it was on his
Paladin.
page.
It wasn't like I was making it up. Like, I just shared your husband's YouTube page where he was talking about some penile pump or something. That's not
Yeah.
my fault, Pam. You know what? We got to get Paladin and Mark on panel one night. Hello, Paladin.
Gail S. Her second question that she left. Gail, thank you again for great questions. Now afterwards, it's after a crime, and I think they're referring to the person that committed this crime. But you can answer this as a general psychopath or as someone that maybe committed this crime. How are they feeling? Are they watching the news? Do you think he moved out of the area? And I have to say, a lot of people are also asking these similar questions in chat right now. So,
Yeah. So,
hey, Katie.
Let me mention that. So there's an instrument called the hair psychopathy checklist. The current version is it's called the PCLR, meaning there's a revised edition which came out more recently. And all told, there's something like over 14,000 different combinations of psychopaths. So I should make it clear that there's no one way to get to a psychopath. If you use the Hare, for example, and Hare spelled H-A-R-E, I've mentioned him before. His name's Robert Hare. He's done a lot of the research on psychopathy, or the early research. And I use that instrument quite often in a lot of my evaluations of criminals because it's sort of the gold standard. But it's important to note that, as I said, I forget the exact number, but I know that there's well over 14,000 combinations of scoring on the Hare that would lead to a diagnosis of psychopath. So that means, obviously, there's no one type of psychopath. There's many, many, many variants. And so, and I don't know why I'm hawking books tonight, but because we have no interest in this. But I'm going to hold up another book here. The Making a Psychopath. It's by Mark Freestone. He has done a lot of work with psychopaths, and welcome
to Dr. Babe's reading list. This is what he does.
Yeah.
This is what he reads all the time.
It's a great book because it's a very good book on psychopaths, because he shows that there are very different kinds of psychopaths, and they're all a little different. He has some female psychopaths in his book. He has males. He has some that have committed murder, some that have not committed murder. I mean, it shows that there's a wide variance in what a psychopath is and what they look like and what they do, how they think, how they act. So there's really, there's no single answer here, but in general, how would they feel after a crime like this? My guess is maybe a little bit of pride, maybe nothing, maybe indifference, maybe this is just what a psychopath may do, right? It really depends on the circumstances that led up to the crime and maybe some of their motivations. But I don't imagine that they would have a huge amount of feeling, because psychopaths generally are well known for their lack of feeling. In fact, if in the Hare, in the PCLR, there's a trait referred to as callousness, which is exactly what it is. It's the psychopaths are callous. They don't feel and they don't care. So when they harm other people, they typically don't have any emotions surrounding that.
Thank you to our wonderful mod Blue Sky for reminding everyone to show your support. If you like our videos and these lives, to hit that like button, and then we will know which videos or interviews or anything to bring you and what you'd like to see more of. Claire is actually asking, are these layperson books? Could anyone read these books that you're reading?
The first one I showed is not a layperson book. The second one could be broadly read. Making a Psychopath by Freestone can be read by anyone. It's basic. It's entertaining.
Stop talking about his books.
Okay. And I'm done with the questions that we pulled from last week. I want to again thank everyone for leaving your questions in the YouTube comments, as well as our page members and Patreon. I think this is going well. We'll continue to answer those questions and study those for the next week. So thank you so much. And a big thank you to our mods as well. Yes, Crash D, it's so true. Thank you, mods. Smash that like button. We have the most incredible, loyal, wonderful moderators on this channel that have become very good friends. We're grateful for all of them.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, moderators.
John, so back to this whole, is there a profile for evil? Which again, that's pretty broad. We can get to what is evil. Right. We could sit here and you could write a book on this. Yeah. But it's for Hidden Hour tonight. Where would you like to?
Oh yes, Paladin. Like I said, as many documentaries and books and articles and FBI articles and profiling that I've been reading, you are absolutely correct.
They wear masks.
But I don't think that this one is in the corporate world. I think this one's more of a loner that probably works like, I don't know, bookstore, video store, food store, fast food. I just don't know. But I don't think that, but I just can't understand why I mean, I understand they have so much blood to go through and try to find who the DNA to the person, if he even cut himself. You know, they may not have DA. Hello, lead with love.
Yeah.
Paladin, do you think that they have DNA on this case? Or do you think that or if they do have DNA, that it's not in codex? What do you guys think about that? Do you guys think that they have actually found the DNA of the killer and they put it and it doesn't add up into the system as anybody? Or do you think that they do not have any DNA? Or they have not gone through all of the evidence yet? Gosh, almost 5 weeks.
Yeah. I feel they don't have DNA. I feel that someone, covered themselves and used all of the new gadgets that you use so you won't get scratched or cut, the new materials. You can't, the pants that knives can't penetrate, and bulletproof vests, all of that. And their gloves, arm sleeves.
I mean, you really think this guy went in there with full SWAT gear on?
Not SWAT gear, but maybe like something like a hazmat suit, something like that, with gloves, like the chef gloves that nowadays you can't burn yourself or you can't cut through them. And then there are also arm sleeves that hunters use, or people that are. I found out because some people that search wear them so they won't get cut when they, look through the bushes.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying because you make your grandkids go to school with metal in their backpacks. I get that. I get that. But that's not a bad thing. Oh, Elisa Casada, welcome to the family. Can you send us an email, please? Kaz is actually picking up her daughter. Her daughter came back from her cruise today, an engaged woman. How exciting. I would like Paladin to come on Cannel. Oh, Kaz panel Cannel one time and talk to us.
Oh, they have Brenda Hines said some are satin, some are steel, and some are leather. They're the faces of the stranger, and we love to try them on. Oh.
Yeah, it was weird because we were watching that that documentary. I forget on who it's on. I've watched so many. But they said that the guy went in with plastic bags on his hands and used a knife and killed people. And it's on his feet too. Remember that? A couple of nights ago? Jeez. Aw, Paladin wants it. That's fine, Paladin. Okay, here we go.
Start tonight with, is there a profile for evil?
Well, I think we're beginning to hint at that with talk about psychopaths. So I think talking about psychopaths is a good lead in to this question. If you don't mind, I'd like to discuss the statement that Kaylee's father, Steve, made earlier this week.
Okay.
Maybe that would be a good place to start.
Yeah, I have that article pulled up, and I'm going to read it from Fox News before anyone jumps on. But the family reached out after this article was written. It's true. And they stated, we'll talk about that statement after. So we do know that the family, after this article was published, it's still up. the family did come out with a statement about this article. So first, let's read the article, then we'll discuss the statement they made.
Okay.
Fox News, Idaho murders, father of slain victim says that she had big open wounds, calls police cowards. Clearly, a lot has happened since this article, but it's still important to John and to me. The father of slain University of Idaho student Kaylee Gonsalves told Fox News the victims.
Okay, sorry guys, I have to pause this for my Elisa. What do you mean you almost died?
Because
Well,
of
I'm
the
glad you
membership.
did not die. What?
Because of the membership.
Oh, you scared me, Elisa.
I
'Cause
know.
I didn't see that. Because I didn't see that top part. Don't do that to me. I'm too old for this shit. I just shoveled 5 feet of snow to find my damn electric cord outside. Okay, here we go.
Had big open gouges, and they were clearly the work of a sadistic male.
Wait,
Called the police
trigger
cowards
warning.
for not sharing more with the public. Goncalves said he asked the coroner how many times the victims were
Ooh.
stabbed. She said, "Sir, I don't think stabs is the right word. It was like tears. Like this was a strong weapon, not like a stab." She said they were big open gouges. She said it was quick. These weren't something that you're going to be able to call 911. They were not going to slowly bleed out, he said.
I'm going to buy a K-bar.
Mentions the victims, Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan, says that they were slaughtered in the early morning hours of November 13th in a rental home near campus. Moscow police are working with the FBI, and the Idaho State Police have yet to publicly name a suspect or recover the fixed blade knife they believe was used in the horrific attack. Gonsalves said his daughter's injuries definitely did not match her friend's wounds. They may have individually died of the exact same thing, but there were more details. He said they were not even close to matching. The knife slashed open Kaylee's liver and
Jess.
lungs, he said. He went on to, again, call this a sadistic male. Now, to be fair, let's read one of the family statements.
We'll get to that.
Kaylee's sister, Olivia, after this was published, released a statement, and we will read that right now. Or one of them. There were several, but this is from Olivia Stevenson, Kaylee's sister. "Hi, this is Steve's daughter, Kaylee's sister here. I hate to make this post, but unfortunately, this reporter got bad information. We are also working with our lawyer to get it removed, but I wanted to let you know from the source, this information was not given to anyone at Fox from our family." So there are both we have the article, we have the statement, and it only felt fair to read both, but I do want to share this as a journalist. And this is Fox News. This is their news section. This isn't talk show host stuff. This isn't, this is Fox's separate news that they share. If that wasn't said and that wasn't true, I don't believe it would still be up. Olivia also mentioned they have attorneys working to take the article down. The article remains. I think that their statement did help to squash it. And I think respectfully, there were reasons they wanted to backtrack and not have that go out. And that is fair. John and I both have a lot of empathy for this family. So a lot. And you can even talk about that because I know that Steve has actually been criticized recently, John, with some of the ups and downs. He called the police cowards. He's now allegedly had a good conversation and met with the police, and he's making some claims about the coroner. And
Paladin, do you think that the white car that they're looking for is involved in the crime? But I don't want to hear about the coroner, guys, anymore. I can't listen to that part anymore. We talked about that last night in depth.
Mm-hmm.
And people are going to go to some version of the person's a monster, right? So, but if you ask Muhammad Atta, who was one of the people who flew a plane into the World Trade Center, he would tell you that he did it out of love. A pathfinder and, kind of breaking ground here. But let me start by discussing how Baumeister defines evil. So he basically defines evil as inflicting harm on innocent people. I remember this story very well. I don't know why, but I do. But
sorry, I can't listen.
When we started our podcast on, which is where it all began back in 2020, summer of 2020. I remember I did an episode on Daybell, and back then we weren't getting enough comments that we were overwhelmed by them. We could respond to them. So somebody wrote in and said, "Why don't you just call this what it is? Chad Daybell is evil. End of story." And I wrote back to her and I said, well, I think we need to discuss what evil means. This probably depends on your because evil is a very complicated concept in psychology and many other fields as well.
That damn power flickering.
And
again.
so let's try to unpack evil a little bit. I'm going to hold up another book.
Oh, these books. Hang on.
So evil.
This
inside.
This is a book by a very well-known psychologist, research psychologist. His name is Roy Baumeister. The title is Evil, Inside Human Violence and Cruelty. This book was written in 1997, before a lot of some of the current research on psychopathy existed. So I give Baumeister a lot of kudos for being a bit of a pathfinder and, you know, kind of breaking ground here. But let me start by discussing how Baumeister defines evil. So he basically defines evil as inflicting harm on innocent people. Baumeister, though, is, because he considers himself a social scientist, Baumeister essentially says that this is a very difficult topic to research because victims and perpetrators have extremely different views of evil. In fact, if you talk to perpetrators and ask them, do you think your actions were evil? Almost all of them will say no. Most all of them will see some logic or rationale in what they do, and they'll explain that. And I can tell you this from my work. So I sit in front of criminals all the time, and many of them deny what they do. And when they do talk about it, many of them blame the victims, or they don't see their actions as in some way hurtful or harmful. So Baumeister is very clear that if you're going to talk about evil, you have to acknowledge that victims have very different perceptions of evil than perpetrators. And in fact, according to him, as I just said, many perpetrators don't see their actions as being harmful. And a great example of that would be terrorists, right? That I have very strong opinions about 9/11 and many innocent people that were murdered on that day. But if you ask Mohammed Atta, who was one of the people who flew a plane into the World Trade Center, he would tell you that he did it out of love. So that's not exactly my version of love, but it speaks to this point that many Americans would point the finger at Atta and say, well, he's evil. That's why he did it, right? But Atta would say, well, you know, Americans are whatever. Maybe he would see Americans as evil, and he would see himself as doing something for his cause and for freedom, or at least as he perceives it. And as he said in his letter that was found later, that he did this out of love. So it's important to acknowledge that there are different views of evil, and it really depends to some degree on who you ask to. But having said that, Baumeister talks about certain myths surrounding evil. And Baumeister thinks it's important to acknowledge that these myths create this perception that there's something that's like pure evil. So the listener who wrote to me and said, let's not deal with the psychobabble, let's just call this evil, is obviously kind of in this realm of these myths. And so one of the myths that Baumeister talks about is that perpetrators are different. And I'm not going to go through all of these, by the way. If you want to, you can get the book and kind of read about in detail his myths around pure evil. But one of them is the belief. So when we talk in the true crime community, we talk about perpetrators as being monsters. In some ways, this is what we're saying. And
we dehumanize them. In other words, we dehumanize
them. Right. And so
they're monsters. Yeah.
Right. And that, by the way, is why that issue of dehumanization is why I've never used the word evil in one of my evaluations or psych reports, because, you know, first of all, judges have very different perceptions of what evil means, and lawyers do, and everybody in the courtroom does. So it would be confusing, because when you use the term evil, you're not going to get everyone on the same page.
Very interesting.
And almost instantaneously, when you use the word evil to refer to someone, you're dehumanizing. And people are going to go to some version of the person's a monster, right? So Baumeister says that that's one of the myths. Another one of the myths is that evil has always existed. So in other words, the idea is that somebody doesn't become bad because of their environment or their family, but they've always been bad. And the reason that's important to Baumeister is that it doesn't acknowledge the situation. It doesn't acknowledge the fact that human beings can break bad. Human beings can become bad. And so there's this myth that, you know, this is sort of like, I talked about Anton Chigurh last week from No Country for Old Men. He's like the perfect allegory or personification of evil in some ways, because he just comes and goes and kills people at will and randomly, and this is kind of consistent with Baumeister's talking about that.
Hey,
That
Rob.
that the people are just purely evil, and they've always been evil from birth, and there's no changing them. He thinks that's a bit of a myth. So those are a couple of the myths around evil. And
See, I agree. I think that you cannot change somebody like that. Ted Bundy, I mean, Danny Rowland, BTK, the vampire killer, the scorpion. I've watched so many I could go on for like, oh my gosh. I've been watching ones that took place in the 40s now, back in London. I mean, I've seen them all. Belgium, this one, that one. But I don't think that those people can be rehabilitated. Maybe shock therapy. What do you think, Chisme?
Yeah, once
She-
they taste that blood, then they can't. They're going to be going out for more and more and more.
Yeah, like wild animals.
Hmm.
I mean, I've watched where they literally go to jail and they've killed somebody and they like end up letting them go because they've been good, they've served years, whatever, and they kill again.
Yep, on the same week or even the same day,
Insane.
within
Maybe they
hours.
should bring back like the old days, that shock therapy treatment.
Yeah,
But
lobotomy.
but instead of that, put it on their testicles.
They're going to be like loach,
Little raisins.
shriveled.
so if we're going to develop a profile about evil, I think it's important to try to stick to some of the research and try to be somewhat objective if we can. And let's talk about Baumeister's root causes of evil. So Baumeister does use the term evil. He thinks it exists. Some psychologists don't use that term at all. They think it's a mental construct and it doesn't exist.
Yes,
I would say
Rob.
most don't use the term at all.
Most
Isn't that
don't,
fair? Yeah, to say.
I want to read actually a quote. This is a quote from a psychoanalyst. He's British. I love his work. His name is Phil Milan, Mollon.
I know who he is.
As long as I'm holding up articles.
I've read
The title of this article is Human Nature Intrinsically Abusive? Reflections on the Psychodynamics of Evil. It's by Phil Milan. Here's what Phil Milan says about evil.
Evil.
He says, is the word evil justified in psychological discourse? I believe that it is. When I refer to evil, I have in mind a degree of malevolence which goes beyond ordinary human anger, selfishness, greed, lust, spite, envy, and egocentricity. There can be something beyond these commonplace human attributes which seems to defy understanding, because it seems inherently to express a hatred of life and to involve an idealization of this hostility to life. So I think that's a very interesting comment. And the basis of that comment, by the way, is that he defines evil as an aversion to life and as something that's beyond comprehension. And that's important, by the way, because a lot of philosophers, there's a whole school of thought in philosophy that sees evil the same way, that sees evil as being incomprehensible and as something.
Paladin, what were the Calgary stabbings that you were talking about the other day? What's going on with Jess? Oh yeah,
I tried
Jess.
scrolling back. What happened? I was trying to scroll back and read something on there about Jess, but I couldn't find anything.
She just did some unnecessary traveling, but she's got a good 2023 coming up.
Oh, okay. Jade, yes. Mm-hmm.
Incomprehensible. But you mentioned Calgary and stabbings. And then I could have
2013.
sworn Mark or somebody had mentioned it in Washington.
That's simply beyond comprehension. And it's back and sugar from No Country for Old Men. I think in a way that's what McCormick McCarthy is after. That
Okay,
Sugar
Lib.
walks into this gas station in the middle of nowhere in Texas, And he has no purpose for being there, but
Okay,
he walks into the
polite.
gas station
Thank you.
and he goes up to the counter, and there's the owner of the station, clearly is the person there. He asks the owner to choose heads or tails. He has a coin and he says, heads or tails. And the gas station owner is perplexed. He's like, why do you ask me to choose heads or tails? He doesn't debate with him. He just says, choose heads or tails. And Sugar starts getting angry because the gas station owner won't go along. And what the gas station owner doesn't know is that if he flips the coin and it comes up heads, he lives. If it comes up tails, he's dead. So Sugar has this philosophy of life, which is essentially that life and death are nothing more than the chance flip of a coin. That he sees life as insignificant and in some ways senseless. And it's very nihilistic, first of all, but it kind of fits with this idea that Milan is talking about, that this idea of incomprehensibility, in the sense that Anton Chigurh is in many ways incomprehensible. In fact, I would go so far as to say that he assaults reason in a way, right? That he presents evil as a type of irrationality that can't be explained. That you can't find the motives behind someone who's evil because there are no more motives and there's no purpose. So I think that one thing that's a challenge, if we're going to talk about evil in a perpetrator, is in many ways most of us can't understand these people.
Right. Exactly.
Right? In some ways, they're beyond our comprehension, and most of us who live in the participate in a human community, we seek some type of justice, or we're moral creatures who act in certain ways with kindness and love towards other. And so a guy like Anton Chigurh questions all of that. He throws into question the very idea of justice in a way, right? So because he doesn't make any sense, and because his actions are so extreme and so malicious that we just can't make sense of them. So in many ways, I think you have something similar here in Moscow, right? Let's assume this is a random crime committed by a psychopath like Anton Chigurh.
Okay, take us there.
It's really hard to explain the motives. Then I think it really kind of sets us on edge, because most of us live in a world where we want justice and we expect justice, which means that you find the perpetrators, right? You punish them, you bring them to justice. Now the world feels safe. Now the world makes sense, right? But when you have a perpetrator,
don't make me cough, Patty. Last night when Chisme was reading the feed that Lib is going to check out to see if there's anything new that AMA, I couldn't believe when Chisme was reading it so calm about shriveled this and that. I was like, wait, what did you just say? Yeah, we went over all of that last night, Patty. Yeah, I had to mute. I was laughing so hard. I was coughing, choking. But we're going to get into all of that after this. But right after he talks about the Idaho, we're going to go ahead and move on.
Out there that can strike randomly and just go into a home and kill 4 people, and it really tears, right? It really undermines our sense of security, and it undermines our sense of the world. And I think that's one of the reasons this crime in some ways is so scary. And it's gotten so much attention, and why so many people want justice and so many people are weighing in, because there's a lot of fear and a lot of uncertainty. And maybe there's a Chigurh type perpetrator out there, right? And just lurking in the middle of the night. And I sort of think of Israel Keyes when I think of Chigurh, in the sense that many of Keyes' victims were people he didn't know, that he approached randomly. He would sit off the trailheads and parks, and he would attract people. He would sit in the parking lots of Walmarts and Targets and abduct people. Again, this really challenges our notion of a safe, secure world.
It does. I think you nailed it. I was on the Law and Crime Sidebar podcast this week. You can find that in our community tabs. I linked that, and I told him that this case, first off, I thought that we'd see an arrest by now, and it has affected my mental health, because I agree. It's so...
Me too, girl.
It's so evil. I'll call it that. I'm not the psychologist. It's so horrendous. It's beyond human comprehension. And I do want to see justice. And so I want to say that I understand that, everyone that's wanting that. Thank you so much, Joan. And I want to say thank you to Red Queen, Mysteri, and Christy Dunn as well. Haley Manigault, I also want you to know I saw your question because you used it a couple times. I love it. We're going to answer it, and we'll also answer our super chats. So thank you to those who sent those super chats. Oh, and look, thank you, Julie Holden, for sharing.
Okay, let's see. I think that was it for
If
this.
somebody's ego is threatened, a typical response would be ambition. This is the first. So the first root cause is violence as a means to an end, and these are the things we see in true crime all the time, right? Greed, money, lust, sex, affairs, jealousy, ambition, power. These are things we're all very familiar with.
Paladin.
So that, according to Baumeister, would be the first cause of evil. The second are what he calls threats to egotism, and that would fit. So that would fit the profile we've developed the last few weeks in terms of revenge. Revenge would be if somebody's ego is threatened, a typical response would be revenge or humiliation, or right. So that would be another root cause of evil, according to Baumeister. The third root cause of evil, according to him, would be what he calls idealism. So that would be ideology, and you would fit terrorists into this category. The final root cause, and Baumeister sees this as somewhat controversial and much rarer than the other causes.
But
the final cause is sadism, and this gets us to the comment that you read, Lauren.
I don't think it's sadism.
Sadism is inflicting harm and engaging in violence because it's pleasurable. So this is probably the most interesting one. When I think about if I'm going to create a profile here that's based on somebody who's evil, this is probably where I'm going to go. That I would think of the perpetrator as being sadistic, and this is where I think Steve's statement really nails it. I don't know if Steve intended that, but thinking that somehow he is going to get a certain amount of satisfaction or pleasure from joy from the murders, and that's a scary thought. But I think that's, in terms of considering this to be an evil act, that's probably where I would go.
And Carol H agrees with you.
I don't agree.
Just, right there, that pinned comment.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. And let me read. So I want to tie this back to psychopathy. This is from the Baumeister article. Baumeister, by the way, he followed up his 1997 book with an article more recently in 2012 called Human Evil.
Human Evil, the myth of pure evil and the truth causes of violence.
So this is chapter 20. This is, by the way, a really excellent summary of a lot of the stuff I'm talking about tonight, but this is from a book called The Social Psychology of Morality. This Baumeister is in chapter 20. And here's what he says about sadism. I don't want to put reading glasses. It's okay, I can see. He says that sadism may be linked to psychopathy. Psychopaths lack empathic identification with others and therefore are perhaps less restrained than others by empathic distress. They may get feelings of self-efficacy from the signs of pain and suffering they elicit, and these may increase over time. That's an amazing statement, by the way.
It is. Wow.
Let me repeat some of that. So it's not just the lack of empathy. The thing that really the reason I'm reading this is because
zero
Baumeister is saying they get feelings of self-efficacy. It means that sadistic acts actually increase their sense of self-esteem. It increases how they feel about themselves as capable human beings in the world. Self-efficacy is something we normally attribute to doing things well. So, for example, if you're a good student and you do well on tests or whatever it is, or maybe you're an athlete and you excel at tennis or something, you develop self-efficacy by mastering those things and becoming better at them and improving over time. He's saying that psychopaths develop feelings of self-efficacy from the signs of pain and suffering they elicit. That's incredible. So when you think about that, and I don't think it's always true, but when you think about that, I think it's an amazing conception of evil in some ways.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
Now they're just going to get into their super chats and all of that good stuff. I just wanted to hear when he was talking about the different types. Said, did the killer leave his DNA? With 32 votes, 65% said yes, 18 said not sure, and 15 said no. Huh. Yes, Paladin, I agree with what you're saying. And what was that comment that he said? Because I've watched way too many. I can't watch anymore or read anything else on different types of killers. But let me open these up real fast. I'm curious. I want to
Thanks,
read this
Junie
guy.
and Elisa.
They think you have such a sweet voice.
Thank you.
Okay. So he claims right there that it was a sadist. He believes this is a sadist. And then Paladin says that there's some people that don't believe with them what they're doing is wrong. I actually just watched. I know I keep saying this, but I showed you guys my history where this man would literally. It was in California, and he would walk by people, and he claimed that he would hear the people telling him that he was the one that he could kill them. And not only that, but he goes into a Catholic church to give a confession and ends up stabbing the priest in the heart
Oh my
because
gosh.
the priest told him to do it. So I
Wow.
totally get what you're saying, Paladin, of all types. Hello, sweet Caroline. But let me show you guys, so everything that we've heard so far. Let me share my whole book. Let me share my whole screen actually, because I'm curious now what you guys think as far as what type of a killers. I can't see chat real quick. Okay, so we've got the less killer. R, torture and mutilate because it gives him sexual gratification, fantasizes about violence, can find it difficult to control his impulses, prefers close contact, will use knife or hands instead of gun. So he's got one little characteristic in there as far as prefers close contact. Comfort kill. This is a woman that usually kills for money. We'll bypass that one. One sec, guys. I've got so many notes on this. And then I'll have to find it again. But I think it was I don't know. I think this guy watched and he was creeping in the bushes.
Yeah, that's
One
what I
second.
think.
I think he was rejected. I think he might have tried to, he never maybe got invited to the parties. But I also think he's a little older.
Yeah, he doesn't fit in, but he wanted to.
He definitely doesn't fit in. But we can't stop thinking about, and people keep wanting me to think it's Inan, but I'm not saying that it's him. But I'm saying he had a lot of inconsistencies from saying that there was never screams heard. And then, of course, we talk about him wanting maybe the 15 minutes of fame. But then he said over and over in his interview that he was a hermit and that he was introverted. But then it's just his past with the meth and the drugs. And I don't know.
And he said he had been wanting to crash their parties, but he never did. And he's lived there for years. I guess Kaylee was there 4 years. She had just graduated.
Before we get into the car and the updates on Twitter and we start getting into the um, conspiracies, speculations, let's just hear it is. So we've got the visionary, believes that the person or entity is commanding him to kill, most like suffering from psychosis. I'm going to think this is the guy that killed the priest. Mission oriented, kills in order to rid society of a certain group. Hedonistic, commits his acts for his own personal pleasure, for example, or torture or money. Power control, fantasizes about having power and seeks to dominate and control his victims. Visionaries disorganized. They give Herbert Mullen as an example. And actually, you know what's funny? Is Herbert Mullen, I can't believe this,
What?
is the guy that killed the priest.
Mm.
Yeah, this is the guy that killed the priest in California.
Wow. Because he.
He heard
Mm.
voices that warned him to kill. And he would actually say that he heard the people telling him. He murdered 13 people. He believed that his blood was turning into powder and that he needed to replenish it by drinking others' blood. The vampire
Cool.
killer. I talked about it last night.
Mm-hmm.
The mission oriented. They are not psychotic, unlike the visionary killer. The mission oriented killer is not out of touch with reality. He does not suffer from hallucinations or delusions. God or some entity is not commanding him to do these acts. His decision to kill was a decision that he made all by himself. Typically avoids close contact. Joseph Paul Franklin targeted Jewish people. The hedonistic serial killer, driven by sex, the thrill of the kill, or money. So, what do you guys think he is? Pull out, and I want to know what you think, and Mark, and all of you. I think he's got a little mix in him.
That's what I was gonna say. A little bit of.
A little bit of this, a little bit
Mhm.
of that. Come on, get up and twerk, Chisme.
Shoot! I'll throw my hip out.
Oh, God, I love you. Let me just tell
Yeah.
you real quick.
What about the passion killer? I
Hang
didn't
on, I'm
see that.
popping up a lung. A lust killer. I think this killer is I don't think he's ever fit in. I think he's a loner. I think he's introverted. I think that he is just like the girls don't ever acknowledge him, but he wants to fit in. I also thought from the beginning that he might be impotent. And now that we're hearing about people getting their nads looking like raisins, like I don't know what's going on anymore.
Well, it
He
happens
doesn't
when you're
fit
on
what mold?
steroids.
Yeah, right. He's like a mix. Because when you go into the lust killer, because if it was if it was targeted, right? And
Mhm.
one of the girls was targeted because I mean, if you guys believe that something with Ethan and all of the Loke and Loach and kids and stuff like that, we're going to look into it and continue to follow it. But I don't feel that it was them, somebody from the house. I really can't imagine it being the ex-boyfriend. Now, the dog being in a separate room still throws me off. But I just see this person back in those trees, and I've said it from week 2 before any profiler said it. I just felt it. So he could be a less killer. You think he's social?
Yeah.
Oh, Paladin, I finally disagree. I don't agree with that, Paladin. I think that this kid would be like if Inan had a twin, this would be the killer. Like that whole entire personality. And even the neighbor that walks the dogs and peeps in the window. I don't care what he says. I promise you. That guy that walks the dog, I'm sure he walked back in those bushes at one time and got himself a little throw up in that window.
Yeah. Because you can't really see much through the front windows, but you can through the sides and the back. And I mentioned that too in the beginning, about that hill that always creeped me out right there, right next to the Maddie's room. And then,
And
you know,
if and Kaylee's room, like that whole entire back
yeah,
area, he could be in the
yeah,
back bushes with binoculars looking. All right.
from far away.
So Paladin and I disagree. Okay, let me get my note card out because I lost it when my power went out. I don't even have a snow shovel on hand. I got to go to my pops and pick my snow shovel that he obviously stole last winter, but I had to get rid of the 4 feet of snow with a rake.
Mm. And I'm cold.
Yeah, this guy is a special kind of special. I think he has to be organized, the fact that he hasn't been caught yet.
Let's go out now to our reporter standing by in Moscow, Idaho. Police say they're now examining areas up to 30 miles outside of Moscow, trying to find clues. So that's somewhat of a development today. We're going to be joined right now by Fox News multimedia reporter Jake Karalexis outside of the police station there in Moscow. So, Jake, they've expanded their...
Wait. Your way, Paladin, or the killer is saying that, and you're speaking for the killer my way. Are you a killer, Paladin? Oh, I'm scared.
Search. Why?
I bet he has.
Well, Andrew, they believe that valuable evidence
I
could
agree
possibly be in an area
with that,
outside
Paladin.
of Moscow, and investigators have been asking for surveillance video in Troy, which is about 12 miles east of Moscow, and Kendrick, which is another 12 miles about roughly from Troy. And a gas station employee in Troy said police asked him for surveillance video, but his store didn't have a camera facing outside. And we're going to show you some video that was shot near Phil's Family Foods last night in Kendrick. Police reportedly asked the store for surveillance video from November 12th through November 14th. And the murders of those 4 University of Idaho students happened on the morning of November 13th. So far, there's been nothing in those videos to help police, but Moscow police say that obtaining as much video as possible is their best bet at making a breakthrough.
Just consider how much video there is to collect and what you would think of to do, and that's what they're doing. Any surveillance video we have is definitely part of what is moving us forward as far as progressing in the investigation.
And Andrew, police today say they're still looking for the occupants of that white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra that was spotted near the
Oh, he
scene
said
on the night of those
occupants.
murders. And police say there are over 20,000 registered cars in Washington state and Idaho fitting into that criteria. And they're getting tips on that Elantra from across the country. Andrew.
So, Jake, I don't know if you can offer any reporting on this. Fox News and Fox News Digital have been kind of providing us windows into, the thinking of some of these grieving parents, and they're quite upset with the lack of information that the police have been providing. And so there's been a lot of testy and fiery rhetoric from them. No doubt they are experiencing something they never thought they would be experiencing. Have we heard from any of the parents or the family and friends of some of these victims in the last, week?
So, Andrew, I have not heard from any of the parents or friends of the victim. Did talk to some students on campus this week before they left for winter break who are feeling a little better, a little, safer with this, what they say is an isolated incident over a month out. At least that's what they're hoping. But the parents have been saying some things, and it's just been a slow trickle of information coming out within the last day or so. We've learned more about the car with that 20,000 registered cars that fit into the criteria of what they're looking for. Again, today talking about police expanding their search. It's just little baby steps in this investigation. We'll see if there's anything that leads to a breakthrough coming up in the next few days.
And Jake, I also had a quick question. And maybe, when you see some law enforcement officials there in Moscow, you can maybe ask them, we're now a month removed, or a little more than a month.
Uh-oh, there went Mar. Oh, there you are.
Oh, my mic. Okay.
To 30 miles outside.
Did I not
Moscow,
share the screen?
So that's somewhat of a development.
Yes, you
Today.
did,
We're
but
gonna be joined right
you
now
went
by
off
Fox
for a little
News
bit for a few
reporter
seconds.
Carol Alexis outside of the police station there in Moscow. So, Jake, they've expanded.
I'm sorry.
Their search.
Oh, right
Why?
here. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, Andrew, they
voluminous number of pieces of data and information that they are pouring over to try to get a break in this case. Let's listen.
Students are returning home for winter break. Does that present challenges for the investigation?
No, Lilac. I have a
Absolutely.
5-month-old ferret that likes to hop on the keyboard.
After all that, but we have investigators all across the nation. We have investigators all across the state with the state police and the FBI. So we'll adapt to that, and we'll continue to do our investigation.
What about investigators? Can they keep up this investigative pace over the holidays?
We will continue to keep up this pace. We're giving individuals time off when they need it. We're augmenting people into those. We're not going to stop investigating this.
What kind of progress has been made regarding the search for information about the white Hyundai law?
We looked at massive amounts of video footage, especially in the critical camera areas, and we looked at the 24 hours prior to and 24 hours of those, and now we're
Do
extending
you
that
think he
out even
plays
further to other
Santa
cameras
Claus
and other
for
time
Christmas?
frames.
What kind of manpower does it
Only
take
to his
to
family
get all
members.
of the video
You crazy,
down
Mar.
and the tips?
We have massive amounts of people looking at this. Multiple different groups looking at the different videos in different locations. It's just because we have investigators all across the nation that are reviewing these videos for us and sending us back information on that.
Hey, Miss
Okay, that was Moscow
Juju's.
Police Chief James Fry there with a very, very brief update on what some of the procedures in the investigation look like going forward. I just want to put up this map yet again that we referenced in Jake Karalexis's report about how the search has been now expanded, somewhat of a 30-mile radius there, as investigators are asking for surveillance video in both of these locations. They're in Kendrick, Idaho, south of Troy. They're looking for surveillance video from a Phil's Family Food from that store on the night of the murder when that happened. And then they're also looking for more information in Troy as well, 12 miles east of Moscow, for surveillance video there. And we also just want to put up a statement from Moscow
I
police.
think they're tracking that car on
that
camera.
accompanied this video statement by Chief Fry today. They say, quote, after sorting through the majority of digital content gathered from critical cameras during crucial times before and after the homicides took place, investigators continue to comb through hours and hours of digital content submitted by businesses, homes, and the public. The investigative pace will not slow down for the weekend or the holidays, and the departure of University of Idaho students returning home for winter break is not expected to cause any slowdown in the investigation.
So they are tracking that car to the east.
Yeah, and he said they're getting assistance from other departments and all over the nation.
And then this is just the interview with him real quick. And then we'll hop over and see what's going on in Reddit and Twitter. I like the sidebar. The law and crime sidebar.
Yeah, I like that channel.
But I'm saying, let's think about this for a second. Okay, so let's just say that there's 22,000 Elantra white ones in from 2011 year to the 2013, right? So what is bringing them to the east? I can't imagine they're tracking the car unless they're actually watching this car at like couple block intervals. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So help me understand, why do you think and what is making them track it that far to the east? What are they on to? Are they seeing the car?
I think they're seeing the car, and like you said,
but
along the way towards the east. But then they need to focus on other cars. What if it was another car, a different color? It's hard. It's too much work.
So let me ask you this: if they have tracked the car that far, some of these places have like cameras on the lights and they can get pictures of license plates. Like, how come they haven't narrowed it down yet?
They're tracking
Lilac, where do you live? Yeah, we've got so much snow. I got a couple pictures I sent to Chisme. I'll have to show you guys them.
Yeah, I think they're tracking it. I think they're really close behind, but that's just it. They are behind, and they're heading east, and the murderer is heading east, and they're just like on. It sounds like they're right on his trail, right on, right behind him, but they just can't pinpoint where he's going to go next. Which direction. So if he was going east, did he turn left on the street or right on the street? So it's just taking a long time because they have to find the videos and then figure that out and then go that direction. And it's just taking a long time. But I think they're right on his ass if they're saying that.
Well, my conclusion to that is that if the killer is watching and he knows that they're looking for the car, and now they see that he's in the direction that they're tracking him to, they'll probably end up finding a Hyundai Elantra caught on fire somewhere in an alley.
Or maybe they're just saying that to throw him off, and they're really not looking east. They might be looking north or any other direction.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
so that's going to make him, not, I don't know. It's so
But
confusing.
then again, at the end of the day, this car may absolutely have nothing to do with it. But I have a couple maps that I'm going to show you because Chris McDonough actually said, or maybe it wasn't him, that they see the car coming into the neighborhood at like 2:45ish to 3:15, I think, or something like that, and then they see the car leaving. But I'm going to show you guys that after this video. But
Yeah.
so it was seen on camera coming in, and then 19 minutes later it was seen leaving.
Yeah, and that number comes in pretty often, 19 minutes.
I think Paladin's so cool. I think you should call us on the.
I think he
I
worked
think
alone.
I think I have a ghost in my house tonight. Like every time we were talking, you know what? I think the lights started flickering when we started talking about the spirit box. Okay, go away, please. Okay, here we go.
Pray to Archangel Michael.
Oh.
Video footage, especially in the critical camera areas. And we looked at the 24 hours prior to and 24 hours after of those. And now we're extending that out even further to other cameras and other time frames.
We go through the latest developments in the University of Idaho murder investigation, from updates on the search for a car to a new stalker report. We get into it all. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. We have had an interesting past few days in the University of Idaho Quadruple murder case. The killings of 21-year-old Kaylee Gonsalves, 21-year-old Madison Mogan, Nodal, and suspects, no recovered weapon. We do want to do a bit of a recap of some of the latest developments that we've been seeing and hearing. And we're going to start by talking about the white Hyundai Elantra. Now, as you recall, police asked for the public's help in identifying this car because they believe that it was near the crime scene at the time of the murders. Well, here is Moscow Police Captain Roger Lanier explaining some of the latest on the car and why it is so important.
Well, through our tips, through our leads, some of the evidence that came in, we start to identify patterns. And like we said earlier, we are confident that the occupant or occupants of that vehicle have information that's critical to this investigation.
See, he just said it. He believes the occupant or occupants have information of what's going on.
Yes,
Before
he's
he says,
confident.
oh no, we don't think that, we just want to talk to them to see if they have seen anything or if they saw anything. But now he's actually saying that he knows that they have information. Huh. I'm pulling up your email, Lynn, right now. I'm looking for it.
We also understand that even though there's sometimes a fascination
right
with
back.
a particular case, they simply don't see the news and may not know that we're looking for it. So if we get the word out there, hey, maybe your neighbor has one in the garage that they don't drive very often. Maybe there's one that's just not on the registration database. Let us know. So far, we have a list of approximately 22,000 registered white Hyundai Elantras that fit into our criteria that we're sorting through. That's an awful lot of information, but it may not be all of them. So the public can help us with that.
And to give you an idea about why it is imperative for the public to be aware of all this and why it is imperative for the public's help is because of what just happened. A gas station assistant manager decided to just go through the surveillance footage from the gas station when she had some downtime. She did this after hearing the police's call for help in identifying the white car. And when she went through the footage, she noticed a white car driving rather quick, headed down a side street off a highway at 3:45 a.m. at the time, or at the night of the murders, I should say. 3:45 a.m. at the night of the murders. Now, police ended up collecting 8 hours worth of tape from the gas station as a result of this. We're not really sure if the car is the one they're looking for, but again, it just gives you a sense of how important it is for the public to help the police at this critical time. There was also an update on whether or not Kaylee had a stalker. Originally, her family said that they weren't aware of a stalker. Police haven't corroborated any evidence to suggest that there's a stalker. They actually looked into a prior incident where two guys were in a local business with Kaylee back in October. One even looked like he was going to approach her, but didn't. Police checked out the two guys. They determined that they were just trying to meet girls and ruled them out as being suspects or involved in the murders in any way. But here's what's interesting. NewsNation senior national correspondent Brian Enton, who has been following this case and has actually come here on Sidebar, he spoke with a vape shop owner who knew Kaylee and Madison and said there were discussions about a stalker just 3 weeks before the murders.
Hey, coming together and stuff like that, it's nice to see you girls trying to stay safe. One of them more or less openly says, oh yeah, we've had a friend of ours be stalked before. So this is kind of why we all travel in a group like this. And just was it Kaylee who said that? Do you remember? No, it was Maddie who actually said that. So Maddie said it, and it was kind of like more mentioning, like motioning to Kaylee too, like who was right next to her. So you could tell that like they obviously all were trying to keep Kaylee safe, and be there for her as good friends.
Now, we don't have any information about this. We don't know what they were referring to. We don't know who this was about, if it was about the incident that I mentioned in October or something else. But the reason that this is relevant is because we are trying to understand what would have led someone to commit these crimes. And according to Steve Gonsalves, Kaylee's father, after speaking with the coroner, he said that the wounds to Kaylee were worse. So there's been this back and forth about what was the target. Was she the target? Were they all the targets? Was it a case of the house being targeted? That's why it's important to understand this backstory. By the way, focusing on the Gonsalveses for a moment, we know that Mr. Gonsalves has clearly expressed his frustration with law enforcement, particularly the flow of information, the communication. He's been very vocal on the media about that. But Kaylee's mom sat down with the Today Show, and she too said that she is frustrated.
Gonsalves says she and her family support the police and the work investigators are doing, but they're critical of authorities for what they called poor communication with victims' families.
You found out about the white car from a press release?
Yes.
Wow. Yes. Did they send you the press release?
No.
And Christy Gonsalves does worry that the case could go cold. She said, quote, I can't help but not. She said, I mean, in all honesty, this is a possibility. There's a lot of unsolved murders. And that brings me to Shannon Gray. Shannon Gray is the attorney for the Gonsalves family. And as he explained to my co-host here on Sidebar, Anjanette Levy, he had a very important meeting with the family as well as the authorities to explain their concerns with this investigation.
Well, we had a meeting with the investigators on Monday. The investigators, the prosecutor, Chief Fry was there, as a few other people in the room. And, our theme going into that was accountability and communication. Accountability, meaning that a lot of the information that had gotten out had been inconsistent and confusing, not only to the families, but also to, I think, the public. You had the coroner making statements. You had the Bill Thompson, the prosecutor, making statements about targeting, and then that was walked back by Chief Fry in another statement. You had Art Bedke, within a day or two, making statements about crime of passion, and so a lot of inconsistencies in that. Consistency promotes trust, and so part of our theme going in was that there needs to be some accountability within the investigation about having really one voice.
And he really didn't hold back when it came to talking about the coroner in this case, Kathy Mabbitt, because according to Steve Gonsalves, as I mentioned, Mabbitt revealed to him gruesome details of the killing. She herself has spoken to the media, talking about the toxicology reports, the extreme nature of the case, the possible murder weapon. Well, Mr. Gray was very critical of her comments and whether or not she had a conflict of interest.
Well, I mean, I have issues with the coroner. Number one, expressing all of her opinions over the media at, I think, at inappropriate times, number one. Number two, making a personal phone call and describing graphic details of what she discovered and what she to the family, I don't think was beneficial in any way. I don't think she did it out of a place of spite. I think she did it because she was, trying to get more details.
This a total distraction.
Once you hear certain details, it's not helpful to the family on certain things. So, and I could go on and on about the coroner. The idea that she's a criminal defense attorney at the same time that she's a coroner, I think could present a conflict down the road. And the fact that she's continuing to people during this investigation. And she's done it before. I mean, the fact is that she was involved in she was a coroner on a murder investigation in Moscow years ago. And she also was the defense counsel on the case, which blows my mind.
We believe he's talking about the James Curtis Leonard case. You can definitely check that out. But it's an important discussion that he's having about her and her role here. We want to go now to one more big update that we have to talk about, and that is the neighbor of the slain students. I'm talking about Inan Harsh. he sat down with Lauren Matthias, who is the host of the Hidden True Crime podcast and YouTube channel. And the reason that he is important is because he allegedly heard something strange on the night of the murders because he was home.
After me, so I heard like, a car shut, a door shut, and then like, apartment door shut, and like also like a scream. But like, that's like normal. Like I always hear like screaming almost every Saturday night. So like I didn't really like think of it.
Now here's what's interesting about Mr. Harsh, and that is that people online think that he's suspicious. In fact, they have gone so far to suggest that he might be the killer. Here was his response to that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of it's almost hilarious to me that people think I did it, and they're
Listen to the
like
laugh.
telling me like, yo, you did it, and it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like the equivalent to like flat Earth theory to me.
Well, I had the opportunity to sit down not only with Lauren Matthias about this, but I also sat down with legendary former homicide detective Phil Waters, who's an expert at obtaining criminal confessions. Here was his thoughts on Inan.
He does a lot of looking around, and I'm not talking about eye stuff. I'm talking about just his mannerisms. He does a lot of this, and there are a lot of subtle shoulder shrugs. He'll be getting into a discussion, and you'll see that shoulder start to pump.
Mm-hmm.
Those things together would indicate to me, I was sitting in the room with him and had a better view of him, that there is
We watched
a
this
possibility
last
of some
night.
deception in what he is saying. In my mind, if I'm one of the detectives, he's a suspect.
A lot to digest here. And we are going to continue to follow this case as it ultimately progresses. And as we do, I want to just remind everybody that if you have information, there are places to relay that. Authorities are encouraging anyone with relevant information to call the tip line at 208-883-7180. You can also email tipline@ci.moscow.id.us, and digital media can be submitted at fbi.gov/Moscow, Idaho. And that's all we have for you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on Sidebar. Please subscribe on podcast, Spotify, podcast. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.
Thank you, Jesse.
I think Inan's lips look like the guy in the ski mask that was knocking on doors.
The lips may look alike, but the eyes are definitely not alike. Okay, so I received an email. I'll do a side by side, but let's hop into some Twitter and some Reddit. But Lynn sent me an email and it says 7 dead coyotes left on student property in Moscow, Idaho, in 2 separate incidents. 3 sororities and 1 fraternity targeted. Animal blood on doorsteps and windows. So let's go check out this article. I didn't want to show the email.
I wonder what the mascot is for their, sports teams.
Okay, guys. Graphic warning. We're about to see a dead coyote. I'm going to let you guys know. I don't even know yet when it was, but I really do not like to see. Oh my gosh, that just, excuse my French, fucked me up. Chisme, I'm not good at stuff like this. I'm going to send you this into the back room, okay?
Okay.
Can you read this one?
Okay.
All right, I'm going to put it in private chat. Sorry, guys. Like I said, I can't handle that stuff. Chisme's going to pull it up.
You see it?
You have to present the screen. Remember, present. And then click the Chrome tab. And then click that link to the Idaho page and then share. Oh.
Almost there.
Okay, yeah. Do you think the local coyote guy is the one that skinned the dog? I don't see it. All right. There it is. All right, guys, I'm going to look away, so just let me know when the picture is gone, okay?
Okay, it says 7 dead coyotes left on student property in Moscow, Idaho in 2 separate incidents, 3 sororities and 1 fraternity targeted, animal blood on doorsteps and windows. In 2 separate incidents in 2017, dead
Are you
coyotes.
showing? Are you showing the coyote, dead coyote?
Yes, but I already scrolled past it, but I'm showing it right now.
Oh, let me know when you're not showing it.
Okay, it's off.
Okay.
It says
When did what was the date on this? When did this happen?
January 20th, 2017.
Ah, okay.
So it's been about 5 years. In 2 separate incidents in 2017, dead coyotes were left on the properties of sororities and fraternities in Moscow, Idaho. The animals had been shot and their bodies placed on the property. The first incident took place on January 20th, 2017, and a suspect was caught on camera. Police officers identified the suspect, and it was revealed to them that the incident was intended to be a joke. The second incident, officers say, didn't fit the MO of the first incident, and the previous suspect wasn't declared responsible. The animal dumps were found on Pi Kappa, Pi Beta, Phi, and Alpha Phi properties between. It was found on those properties between 1:22 a.m. and 4:22 a.m. As previously reported by KXLY, Moscow Police Captain Tyson Barrett said, "We don't have enough information as to who actually committed it, so we don't know if it's a continuation of that prank or someone else doing something." The Pi Kappa Phi president Ethan Ennis says the coyote killings were gruesome. The coyote's body was mangled, and he says the sorority across the street got it even worse. Enos said at Pi Beta, Pi Beta, Pi Beta Phi, there was more blood on the doorstep, some even smeared on the window. Police said it appears the coyotes were shot, which is not illegal in Idaho. On the back porch of the home where on the back porch of the home where 4 University of Idaho students were murdered, what looks to be animal fur or some kind of cloth can be seen in what looks to be a dog bed. What? I hadn't seen that picture. Can y'all hear me? It is unclear what is actually shown in these photographs or if the incidents involving the dead coyotes have any connection to the recent murder of 4 students in Moscow, Idaho. It doesn't look like a stuffed animal or anything.
I mean, so the guys, is it Ethan Ellis who killed the coyotes?
No. Enos is the reporter, isn't he? They didn't name the suspect. But that right there, it doesn't look like a stuffed animal or anything. It is unclear what's actually shown on these photographs or if the incidents involving the dead coyotes have any connection to the recent murder of 4 students in Moscow, Idaho. Oh, those are berries, see? And it's just flaking off of the paint. Remember we were wondering last night.
Are you done with that one, that article?
It just says, yeah, we will continue to follow this story and provide updates as they are made available. Johnston Meadows is the author.
Okay. Let's see real quick. So what if that was like somebody who I mean, don't you usually start off doing crazy stuff like that?
Police are searching for the
Yeah.
person for leaving coyote carcasses on their doorsteps. XY4's Drew Reed's working for you with who could be responsible.
For the second time in 3 weeks, students at University of Idaho were left with an unsettling discovery. Dead coyotes were left at the doors of several sororities and fraternities, including here at Pi Kappa Phi.
We're really, I guess, unsure why that was happening.
This is Ethan's sorority.
It's still unclear if this incident is related.
I mean,
We don't have
fraternity.
enough information right now as to who actually committed it, so we don't know if it's a continuation of the prank or someone else doing something.
The president of this fraternity says these coyote killings were pretty gruesome. The coyote's body was mangled, and he says the sorority across the street got it even worse. He says at Pi Beta Phi, there was more blood on the doorstep, even smeared on a window. Police say it appears the coyotes were shot, which is not illegal
Oh.
in Idaho.
In the state of Idaho, I don't need.
Okay. Yep, that's definitely not our guy. He's a shooter. We're looking for a
Yeah,
jabber.
he's shot.
Lynn, which pictures? Which pictures, Lynn? Could you email the pictures? I'm sure I might have them, but I might not. All right. LibCam, anything going on? AMA? Let's go jump into Twitter and see what's going on.
That's weird. Whatever
Oh,
that fur
let me
was.
show you. Huh?
The fur on that pillow on the balcony was weird.
Yeah, but those coyotes were shot. The only coincidence is a Ethan Ellis name and the fact that it was on the campus, but it was 2017 and they were shot with a gun.
The ones on the balcony were recent ones. Not the coyotes, but some kind of fur.
So look at this picture where whoever did this on Twitter, it was great. They kind of break down the way the car was going. Traveling westbound on White Ave. Question marks over here, down the side street off Highway 8.
They don't know which way.
Here's the mobile gas station. And they have the question marks onto which way the car went. And then I've got this other picture. Oh, that's explaining Kendrick and Troy. Okay, let's just go to this TikTok real quick that I thought. I'm still trying to figure it out. Maybe you guys can help me understand what this is. I'm not sure what this is.
Wonder if this person
Did the killer
was
write
there.
this?
Honest to God.
YouTube,
Okay, so it
Sweetie
says, here's what
Epielo.
I think happened. They all
Sweetie
came
pie.
I
home
don't know
at
what
the
I'm.
same time. Home
I
by
have no
2.
idea
Wonder
what
if
I'm
this-
looking at. But it's 3 minutes long and it's small. Can we make this bigger, guys? You're a TikToker, Chisme. How do you make it bigger?
Just click on it.
Nope, it just stops it.
Hmm.
But I'm trying to what are we looking at?
I don't know, but
Who-
I know who Sweetie Pilo is.
Who is Sweetie Pilo?
Sweetie Pilo, she's a new YouTuber and she's friends with Reverend Donna Serafina, but she has a lot of insights, that makes
So-
sense.
Okay, so how do we get to this video big? Who is this right here?
Sweetie Pilo.
That's Sweetie Pilo.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's as big as it's gonna get, I think.
But how can you possibly even understand what the heck is
He
going
had
on?
practiced this 1,000 times in his mind. It was quick, the whole
Just
thing.
hear.
He checked his watch. It had
Oh,
only been 3
sorry.
minutes and
Sorry, guys. Okay, it was unmuted. I mean, it was muted.
was there. Honest
Okay.
to God.
Can you hear
Okay,
that?
so it says, here's what I think
Okay.
happened. They all came. Wonder if this person was there. Honest to God. Okay, so it says, here's what I think happened.
Durr.
They all came home around the same time, home by 2 a.m. The killer is already there, in the wood line, hiding in the dark, but with a full view of the back of the house the entire time.
I agree.
Watches and waits as they all eat and congregate briefly in the second level kitchen area, in varying states of inebriation. Finally, they go to their respective bedrooms, Ethan and Zan on the second level, locking the bedroom door behind them. Maddie and Kaylee do the same on the third level, initially to their own rooms to get ready for bed. The killer is outside, motionless, still waiting patiently, noting what lights are turning on and off, and tracking the faint sound of opening and closing bathroom and bedroom doors. His intended target is in there, on the top floor, and all lights are out now. He waits 20 more minutes, silence, yet he is concerned about the unexpected male in the house. But he is too hopped up on all of this fantasy, months in the making, to turn back time.
The hair on the back of my neck just stood up. I'm telling you, this is completely what I've said since week 2.
Plus, he has a target, a mission to accomplish, a retribution.
Oh,
He
I'm
hopes he can
scared.
accomplish his task without having to even
Excuse me.
bother with the
Get the
couple on the
spirit
second
box.
floor. He is stealthy. He has practice. He slips in quietly, a window, a door, it doesn't matter. He is in, undetected, and quietly ascending the staircase to the third floor now. He reaches the intended target's door. It is slightly ajar. In the dim glow of charging electronics, he notices there are 2 girls in bed. He freezes for a moment, stops and listens to the deafening silence, and realizes it is far too late to turn back now. He pushes in silently and sees his target. She is sleeping hard now, and so is her bedmate. So this person knew that they were in the same bed before it was ever announced by the parents, by the way, or by the dad last night. Of course, a lot of us could assume that that was the case. I know I did.
Wait a second. She's got a YouTube channel and she's really, really pretty. And once in a while, her husband's on with her.
Yeah.
Oh, I've shared one of her videos on the Kylie or Rodney situation. Yeah, I'm subbed to her. But I'm old, being 36 and all, and I'm hearing her voice and I'm actually starting to put 2 and 2 together. And yes, I follow her on YouTube.
But what is she reading? Or who wrote that?
She's asking if the killer wrote it, and right here it's going to at Bells Gibson 2508, and we'll go ahead and see who that is, unless you want to pull her up real quick. It's BELLSGIBSON 2508.
But this is kind of interesting, okay?
And it's on Reddit.
He hovers over the target and unleashes his carnage, a barrage quickly incapacitating her. The girl lying next to her is awake now, but only for long enough to say no several times, the last one being loud enough to further enrage the killer. She too is quickly dispatched. He had practiced this 1,000 times in his mind. It was quick, the whole thing. He checked his watch. It had only been 3 minutes in total since he entered the home. Let's see, hold on. The bedrooms, a total of 5 minutes since he slept inside the house. The killers quickly look around and pauses to listen.
Damn, I
No
got
sounds
goosebumps.
downstairs, but his heart is pounding so loudly in his ears, he doesn't hear the hushed voices and quiet shuffling coming from the second floor bedroom. As he begins his descent down the stairs to make his quick and silent exit, his sick mission now accomplished, a wave of exhaustion rolls over him as he steps off the stairs. onto the floor of the second level. He sees his exit across the room. He begins to move towards it slightly. And then it says, to be continued, maybe. What do you guys think? Is that a little strange? I tell you what, this person is absolutely among all these students just taunting them.
Like my mouth is hanging open. Wow.
I can't find that one.
Which one?
The one that she's the original TikTok video. You found it?
Oh no. Did you go? Yeah, I just put this link in the story. And yes, Paladin, thank you for that comment. And I love everyone's like I just go on facts and sometimes my little spidey sense and what I feel, but I definitely love hearing everybody's opinion. And I'm not going to say, oh my God, how do you think that? So let me see if I can find her. BELL. Oh, shoot. It's covering the name. S. Bells Gibson. $2,508.
Sweetie
Right
Pie,
there.
she didn't. Okay, she didn't explain where it came from.
Okay. So, wait a second. Oh gosh, she's got okay, so she's got some good stuff. I think I'm going to start
Girls'
making.
Last Voices. She has one that
Yeah,
has.
I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play this one right now, but I think I'm gonna start doing little short TikToks and uploading them. How do I
Yes.
follow her?
It says follow on her right there. If you could click that, then you can follow her.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let me go back. Wait, let me go back to this other page. Okay, let's see what this is.
They write, quote, "We were woken up in the middle of the night to a really loud disturbance from a neighbor. I managed to..."
No, he
Fuera,
is.
fuera.
So which one
was there? Honest to God. Okay, so it says, here's what I think happened. They all came home around the same time, home by 2 a.m. The killer is already there in the woodline, hiding in the dark. I wonder if this person was there. Honest to God. Okay, so
Is
it
this the
says,
same one?
here's what I think is door. It is slightly ajar.
I'm trying to figure
In the
out where
dim
she
glow
got
of
that
charging
from.
electronics, he notices there are two girls.
Yeah, I don't know where she got it from. The only thing that it says is you know what? Why don't you go check out her YouTube channel?
I did. There's nothing on there.
All right, let's go to Twitter. There's a couple Twitter links that I saved to certain little things that I want to look at first, and then we'll jump into see what's new. Yeah, we got to figure. Does anyone know where that came from?
If she follows the Reverend Serafina, I know that. And the Reverend, did she make a video on this? Yes, she did.
She
sure
did. She made a
Mhm.
couple. But my question is, let me show you. Okay, before that, let me show you. Maybe it has something to do with this because I actually saved this crazy article about the blood on Twitter. Somebody was like drawing something or
That one guy, JLR, he's boots on the ground right now, and he was showing where that other video is of the white
I
car.
can't stand JLR.
I know. I mean, a lot of people can't, but I happened to see that today.
Okay, you're roboting a little bit, I think. Okay, I don't know what this was, but I thought this was weird. I saw this earlier. Okay, what is this? Okay, you guys ready?
Some joke at Ethan. Take a listen. 9th of November, he has this on his leg. See you later. Then he starts trying to annoy Ethan. You'll see in this video how he starts trying to give Zana a rose made out of pasta. And then he makes some joke at Ethan. Take a listen.
Oh no. Is that Jake Shaw? Jake Chisholm. Oh no. Is that Jake Shaw? Jake Chisholm. Oh no.
Jake Shaw.
Is that Jake Shaw? Jake Chisholm.
In this photo, he looks like he's sat next to Zana. I'm not quite sure. And this photo drew my attention because if you look, you'll see a number 12 written on his fingers. Number 12 was the date that they were last alive. It was the night of the 12th, the early morning hours of the 13th, that this all occurred. In this photo, you'll notice he's in his car. The colour of the car is white. He also has black boots on. You'll notice that he has a spare change of other shoes in the car. The black and white pair are ready for him to put on. But here he has changed into his army style boots. He put this on his Instagram page. I bet you like the way that I sit inside on a Friday night doing nothing with my life while you're out partying with other guys.
What?
But I'm not wise, and these are lies according to you.
What? Chisme, what the hell did I just watch?
I don't even know. Those are she got those posts from somewhere. But she's comparing, I need to watch that again. She's comparing.
Yeah, let's watch this again real quick.
When they were saying Jack Shaw, I think they meant Jack Shawwater. Or is there I don't know, I'm confused.
Well, no, I'm right now, as before I even said what did I just listen to, I've already put in Jack SHA. I'm looking right now. But we got, what? And you can see the cuts, but then again, we don't know when these pictures were. All of this is speculation, guys. But that was a little creepy.
9th of November, he has this on his leg.
What is that?
See you later.
It's a tattoo says see you
Then he
later.
starts trying to annoy Ethan. You'll see in this video how he starts trying to give Zana a rose made out of pasta. And then he makes some joke at Ethan. Take a listen.
Oh no. Is that Jake Shaw? Jake Chisholm. Oh no. Is that Jake Shaw? Jake Chisholm. Oh no. Is that Jake Shaw? Jake Chisholm.
Jake
In
Chisholm,
this photo, he looks like he's sat next to Zana. I'm not quite sure. And this photo drew my attention because if you look, you'll see a number 12 written on his fingers. Number 12 was the date that they were last alive. It was the night of the 12th, the early morning hours of the 13th, that this all occurred. In this photo, you'll notice he's in his car. The colour of the car is white.
Is he holding
He
a gun?
also has black boots on. You'll notice that he has a spare change of other shoes in the car. The black and white pair are ready for him to put on. But here he has changed into his army style boots.
I can't find anything on him. Okay, let me check
He put
my
this
email.
on his Instagram page. I bet you like the way that I sit inside on a
We go to
Friday night
Instagram.
doing nothing with my life while you're out partying with other guys. But I'm not wise, and these are lies according to you.
I think they meant Jack Shawwater.
Well, there is a Jack shot in Instagram. Let me see if I can pull one out from. I mean, it could be Idaho and it could be Washington, because we all know that Inan comes from Washington. Pullman. So I've got one that cooked with Jack, and then Jack Shaw, 37.
But was he holding a gun?
Let me see. There's actually a couple Jack Shaws. That's not him. It was definitely strange.
It looked like he was holding a gun in his hand.
There's so many of them.
When he's sitting in the car and he changed into the boots, on the first picture, it looks like he has a gun in his hand, but it's camouflaged with the background.
And then that whole, yeah, we're going to have to follow that. Let's go look into what Sleuthy's saying. Detectives continue to investigate what occurred approximately 9 p.m. on November 12th to 1:45 a.m. on the 13th, when Ethan and Xana were believed to be at the Cigna Chai House on the University of Idaho campus. Any interactions? Like, seriously, where were they? Maybe they went somewhere alone and had like a romantic picnic in the woods or something.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what's going on real quick.
Or maybe they just sat in the car for a while, It's real close by. Who knows?
So the Hannah thing too. How many of you guys believe that? Well, I believe that Hannah and Maggie were roommates. But do you think Maggie bullied this girl to the point where she took a bottle of sleeping pills? Hello, my elderly cats. Hello, Happy.
Well, that's possible too, because
Yes,
it
Happy. I
happened.
watch Gray. I love calling into Gray, and then he gets mad if I ask something. Back when he was falling, he would be like, I'd be like, Gray, just chill out, mister.
Yeah, I saw the recent diagram.
I don't know if she was a mean girl. I mean, I don't think that has anything to do with this situation. I think this was somebody that was a weirdo watching from the trees.
Okay, I thought you
Yeah,
meant
this is
Hannah.
horrible. Each and every one deserve what they got. Yeah. I don't even want to read that BS.
Because someone posted about Hannah's brother vowing revenge because of what they did, but of course we don't know if that's true.
Wait, what does this say? This is something about Inan Harsh. Let me save this so I can open it up and zoom in.
Someone saw a black car that night. Is something like that shape.
Well, that looks like a Jeep. This looks like a Jeep Gladiator. Let me see what this is. One sec. A staff junkie. Maddie, right there. Who is Staff Junkie? Have you guys heard of Staff Junkie?
How do you spell staff?
STAFF.
That's what that guy uses. Inan uses the contact staff.
What?
Remember?
So the picture right here, guys, with this Jeep, I have it bigger. I'm going to read what it says. I'm not going to stop sharing just to read it. Inan Harsh, 4 hours ago from whenever this was, that's actually a regular Jeep. It says, shit, the internet clowns smoking crack on the internet think I did. Better skip town. Oh, wait. I already buy broke bitches. Original sound, Inan Harsh. So what I just read is what this says. Oh, wait, what is it? I'm afraid to open this up.
He practiced the staff that night. The contact staff.
You know what, Chisme? I did not think about that until you asked me how he spelled staff. Hello, Dia. Right? Can you open up your Twitter real quick?
I don't even have Twitter on my computer, but I have it on my phone.
You don't need it. You just need the website. It's like Facebook. What was that name again? Staff what? Oh, what is this? Wait. This just came out 2 minutes ago. Has anyone ever seen this crime scene photo before? I haven't. Zoom in. You can definitely see a shoe or boot print.
I see it.
Yeah, this must be the crime scene guy because he's got the booties on. Could be something.
Yeah, and remember I told you about the photo of them picking up something small that seems to be in the same area.
Really? Oh, here it is. Okay, I'll look it up. Staff_junkie. I want to see what I'm afraid to look. Gosh, I'm afraid to look at this. Kaylee, Xana, and her boyfriend. These are the only 3 I remember, but I know all are amazing. See, again, he doesn't mention Maddie, but Maddie was the only one that Inan was following. Okay, I'm afraid to look at these. Trippin' staff, and there's another one. So it's staff junkie. And he's doing his fire sticks. We'll go look at that, but let me just go see if there's anything else.
So if he was good with juggling those, then, oh my God, what's that?
Okay, so he just up.
Look at that knife.
Does he have any cuts on it? Oh,
chop it up.
Does he have any cuts on his hands?
I don't see any.
It has been 5 weeks. I don't see any.
When was this posted?
He's a creeper. It says that 1 hour ago, uploaded new video showing some veggie slicing. the press conference. Problem is, Ethan had bad pics of a Jeep as well. The pic on the dash is him and an old girlfriend, not Xana. It says Ethan Chapman. Huh. So was that his red Jeep that was outside that they towed right there? Yep.
That's what I always figured.
Maddie, Kaylee, Xana's. And this is Dylan's Jeep. And then, well, who's C?
Mm.
The other girl, I keep forgetting the last girl's name on the
Brittany.
first floor. Oh,
Was
Brittany.
it? Who's D? Who's C?
I don't know, but who is that? Huh. Oh, it's Bridget.
Oh, yeah, Bridget.
Does she drive a white Elantra? Oh, I'm afraid to watch this. What is this? I got to go back and look in chat, guys. Sorry, I get lost like a rabbit hole.
Because he was wearing long sleeves, but then again, chefs do.
Who is Bridget? Twitter detective MonkieMar is on the case. Here's his profile, and he's uncovering some interesting clues and finding out who.
Let me drop his link. I got to go
Bridget.
potty.
Let's look at this Google search trends.
Be right back.
It looks like on November 10th. That would have been 3 days before the murders in Moscow, Idaho. The address, 1122 King Road, was searched 100 times from Boise, Idaho. Why? Why on November 10th was this address being searched so many times? Let's read what Detective MonkieMar had to say. If you've been following along and saw my findings on Bridget, alleged white Hyundai, more than likely living in Boise, did she visit Moscow? 1122 King Road, House of Moscow Murders was Google searched 100 times on November 10th from Boise. Here's another screenshot of the Google search trends, and it shows here November 7th through November 11th. And you can see the spike in searches for the address. Here it says, coming from Boise, Idaho, 100 searches. For what it's worth, 1122 King Road was searched on Google out of the Boise area. Detective MonkieMar posted this to his Twitter. He says, guys, what car do you think this is? He's referring to this one here. Is it a white Hyundai Elantra? I attached that to the tweet as well. Someone brought it up. I'm not sure. Pictured are Dylan, right here, one of the two surviving roommates, first floor roommate, and Bridget, alleged getaway driver in Boise. Bridget's here next to Dylan. And somebody's got some money because they're standing in front of what looks to be a G-Wagon. Detective MonkieMar on Twitter posted this. For people on their high horse, acting like internet sleuths shouldn't try and expose the truth. The heat is on. Someone will break. They'll go to the police. They'll confess. That's why social media is important. Thank you for watching this video. Comment down below if you have something to add. We'll see you next time.
Who is MonkieMar?
I haven't heard of him before, but that's what that graph was all about. Someone searched that home 100 times the day before. Is that what he said?
Uh-huh. What is this?
Mask.
Oh, so I guess that was the black glove.
Oh, yes.
And you can see the snow's on top of it. So it was definitely there before it snowed.
And
Okay,
that
so what
guy
was
looks
his
like
name again on
who? Detective Marky Mark?
Yeah, no, not Marky Mark. Here are some pictures from the same night. What? What the hell? Who is that? Wait, wait a second. I gotta see. What am I looking at right now?
I have no idea. The same night?
I mean, I gotta go back into chat for a minute. Hang on. I gotta do something real quick. So we've got the rumor also that we read last night that some people are claiming that Dylan is transsexual. Did we not read that last night, or did I dream that?
I heard that somewhere.
Yeah, last night. Hello, Happy. And I see. Hello, LJD3. Okay, let me get this picture. What the hell is that? Okay, let's yeah, we gotta open this up real quick. I gotta get this name. It's Maddie Mogan.
Is that
Okay.
who is that guy? And is that
Okay, wait a
Xana?
second. Wait, I'm gonna show you guys this real quick. This picture blown up. And it comes from Maddie's. So this must be Maddie. You see? Maddie Mogan 8. I'm confused.
What the hell?
And who is this?
I was
With the
asking if that
phone.
was Xana. Yeah.
Well, this was not that night because she was not wearing that outfit. But who is this? That was definitely creepy.
Well, they do have a lot of Halloween pictures up. Where are they?
That's just weird. Like this. Huh. Some people are just, they reach too far. It's like, oh, you follow her, you got to be a problem. So here's the 4chan conversation. I'm going to send this to you, the newest one, just because I can't handle if we're going to talk about little balls, then I can't handle it. I'm going to put it in private chat.
Shriveled.
All right, there you go. It's in private. You remember how to present it?
Yes, I'm working on it. I'm slow.
I don't want to hear about shriveled balls again. Oh, yeah. Maddie seems like a cool girl. They all seemed cool. unfortunately, somebody, even when Inan talks about coming over with a bottle of wine and how Kaylee wanted to drink it, and it was like he never once said Maddie's name. That was the name he couldn't remember.
Is it up there? Can y'all see it up there? Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read the tweet. It says, someone named Sean wrote, I need more info on the 4chan, on the 4chan conversation which tells of the murder of the Idaho 4. Part of that conversation tells of an argument between Ethan and another frat brother, which was substantiated by Dr. Phil. What was that argument about? Oh, well, this is the same one we read last night. It's the same one. It says, bruh, you can see the King Roadhouse from David's SX room. It says, once that third floor light turned off, they did it. 19 minutes total, walk included. Talked about the shit at Bishop Kelly and SX. Loach and which is David Loach and Ethan got in a fight that night. Zaina allegedly talking shit. Loach had problems with Maddie also. This shit been brewing since Fall Rush last year. Cunts went quiet on social media for 2 weeks before and after the deed. Barry's mom is a paralegal, so he knows not to say shit. David Loach cleared his social media. That's the one we read last night on the 4chan. Oh, but she said there's an update. Let's see. Yes, that's the same one as last time that we read last night. But I'll go ahead and read it. It says, these were leaked emails it says, apparently the night of the murders, Ethan and David Loach got into a fight at SX, and Ethan said David Loach has shriveled balls from steroids. Zaina was talking shit too. David Loach has long-standing beef with Ethan and apparently Maddie too. David Barry Ochoa and David Loach are butt buddies who talked about murder fantasies before. Also, something about David Barriocha being Ethan's tutor and not doing well with it. So, shriveled balls comment triggered the steroid rage in David Loach, and his little twink sidekick carried out their long-standing fantasy together. This is at least what I gathered from Frat Anon. So someone responded, yeah, I don't even care. The aesthetic is what matters. We already know this. It says, Dirty South Loach, which is David Loach, and Ethan hated each other. David Barry Ochoa got a bid because our house GPA sucked and the NC was on our asses. David Barry Ochoa is schizo. Dirty South David Loach and Ethan could not be more opposite. Madison did talk shit. David Loach also pissed she was with Rogaine Jack, which is Maddie's boyfriend. They call him No Plug because of his thinning hair. Had to charge No Plug. Madison's also target. And titties is what they called Kaylee. Titties not a target at all. Bad luck. Well-known fact. It says a high probability some brothers are aware Rogaine has ample opportunities, which is Jack, Maddie's boyfriend, has ample opportunities and will play grieving boyfriend. David Barry Ochoa actually talked about this shit in detail in the past. To wear electrician's gloves, put on baggy clothes after, and walk away. By the way, David Barry Ochoa's dad works for a professional cleaning company. That shit was disposed of in Garden City over the Thanksgiving holiday. So these are the emails that were leaked from the fraternity guys. I don't know if I read this part. Yeah, I read that part. Anyway, what they're saying is that Ethan knew that guy David Loach and David Barry Ochoa, and David Loach, he used to make fun of him because he said he was on steroids and that shriveled up his, testicles. And so that made David Loach mad, and they had an argument that night because Zaina and Maddie were also talking shit about those two Davids, David Loach and David Barry Ochoa. So they said that those two had discussed the plans of murdering. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's out of order. There's 4 pictures and they're out of order. But anyway, they had a fight that night, and then they were saying that it says that the two Davids went over there and they did it. Well, one David Loach did it because he's real strong and he's a wrestler. And they're saying that the other David stood watch and then they put baggy clothes on afterwards. And then since David Barry Ochoa's mother or family member works somewhere that they could have disposed of the property. What happened, Mar? You lost power at home? The whole town. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Oh, MonkieMar, do you have a generator? Yeah, I don't have the access to her StreamYard. But yes, Tony Martinez, yes, she did say she wanted your insights. Oh my gosh. MonkieMar, you want me to go ahead and call it a night and then come back? Oh yeah, I remember the generator from last time. Well, I'll be praying for everyone. Oh, I can't. Kaz can. I haven't seen Kaz here tonight. Well, Mara and everyone, I'm going to go ahead and go too. Yes, everyone, stay warm tonight. No, I don't see any end broadcast. It's just said, oh wait, settings. No, not on this, not on my end. I don't see it. I don't see anything there. All it says is private chat and comments up to the right. Okay, I'll try this. Everyone stay warm. I'll be praying for everyone. Healing vibes. Okay, I'm going to try this one thing.